United Nations, and the soil, and can also take out toxins from the soil. If you've heard about the Green Sahelian Wall that the United Nations was sponsoring, some of the companies involved there have also come and tried those crops in areas that we want to reclaim. And they say that the tests are positive and they can work with us. But of course, we need to use these bulldozers and things we have recovered to level out the land before these vegetative, organisms are put in the land to be able to reclaim the land. So reclamation is one of the areas that we must look to. Happily, we should be able to get some support from green climate funds and a lot of these green funds to assist us in reclamation. But we must put our resources in first. The menace of illegal mining, and I've been trying to find out about best practice, and I found out that apparently we are not the only ones suffering. The high gold price is pushing a lot of people into gold, especially gold. Into, and there's violence, people have died, all kinds of things are happening. So we might not be the only persons, but there are success stories we can learn from. Because if you look at Chile, for instance, they've been able to formalize 90% of their small-scale gold mining. It means 90%, they were in the same situation as us. But today, 90% of their small-scale mining is formalized. And they have control of it. They inspect, they make sure that they're doing the right thing. We can also achieve that. And so even though we're not alone facing that menace, I believe that we can use the best practices of Chile and others to also formalize our small-scale mining sector and make sure that we're able to take control of it. And that is part of what we tried to do when our colleagues died in the helicopter crash. We contacted the big mining companies. Some of them have concessions like 200 miles square. And they're not going to mine all of that concession today or tomorrow. There are some of the places they've explored and found that the gold content is so low that it's not really profitable for them to start mining. But for a small-scale mining company, because of their lower costs, they can mine it effectively. But they must do it responsibly. And so together with the big companies, we said, okay, let's start this cooperative mining, seed part of your concession, so that we can move the small-scale miners from where they are causing distraction onto your concessions. And then you can help us to monitor them and make sure that they are doing the right things. So that was what we were going to launch in Obuasi when the tragic accidents happened. The first was AngloGold. AngloGold agreed, and they carved out a part of the concession. I'm happy to know that since then, Newmont have come on board and are going to assist with the cooperative mining. And some of the other bigger companies have agreed that they will carve out part of their concession so that we can move these illegal small-scale miners onto those places. And so we'll continue to do that. We also have the issue of geology and geological exploration. Currently, our mineral prospects have not been explored adequately. Happily, there's new technology generated by AI that allows those with the technology to partner with our geological survey department. And what they do is they shoot seismic from satellites, and they're able to map out exactly where a mineral prospect is. Currently, when our small-scale miners get a concession, they go and dig this place. There's not enough gold there. They leave it. They go and dig there. There's not enough gold. They leave it. They come and dig here. There's not enough gold. They dig here until they find something. By the time they find something and they're mining, they've dug all over the concession. Today, it's possible to precisely map out where the mineral prospect is. And that's part of what Gold Board is trying to do. That is their other responsibility. That is to give Geological Survey money together with their partners to shoot the seismic for Ghana and show where exactly the resources are. And based on that, do PPPs with Ghanaian mining companies that will mine that gold responsibly so that they don't go around just digging everywhere. So that's one of the things that Gold Board is going to introduce. And this fits into their track and trace system, which they are going to launch, because we cannot export gold to the European countries because of LBMA restrictions. And yet, if we introduce a track and trace system, we should not only be able to export to the Asian countries and the Middle East, we should be able to, once the gold has been tracked and it's known to have come from responsible sources, then we can export it into the LBMA countries. And that allows us to get a much higher price, for our gold than we currently have. And so Gold Board has to activate that other aspect. Aside from that, we're looking at best practices for small-scale mining, because small-scale mining is not restricted only to Africa or to Ghana. It is done even in the advanced countries. And so there are small-scale mines in Canada, Australia, even in the United States of America. And that's why when I spoke the other time, I said that we're contacting some of them so that our small-scale miners association, could be sent to go and see that you can do this in a much better way than we're currently doing. Happily, we've trained a lot of geologists, we've trained a lot of mining experts. University of Mines and Technology has trained so many of our young people who have the technology and the ability to do so. And so the intention is to attach these graduates of UMAT to the district mining organizations, and they would help the district mining organizations to go and inspect the small-scale mining industries and make sure that they are doing the right thing. Normally what you do is, before you start, you must dig what they call a tailings dam to contain any water that you use to wash the gold. And so all the gold that you wash must go into the tailings dam and is contained. And after you wash the gold and you finish mining, you're supposed to cover the pits, and then after that, there are chemicals that you can use to clean and detoxify the water. I'll come to that in a short while. But like I said, it's not an event, it's a process, but we will never give up. It's a long journey, but we'll continue to work on it. I like that somebody raised that, what are we doing to the kingpins? Because most of those 1,400 who have been arrested are young youth who are looking for something to be able to look after themselves. And we'll prosecute them, we'll imprison them. But those who run those operations are the ones that we must be arresting and imprisoning, not these little boys, And so we need to change our strategy. We can arrest the boys and all that. Be given, there's no slap on the wrist. What's the least sentence? 15 years. 5 to 15. Yeah, so we'll catch these boys and we'll feed them for 5 years, look after them for 5 years, and discharge them. But like I'm saying, maybe we can look rather for the kingpins and deal with them in a major way so that we are able to get something on this whole thing. With regards to toxification of the waters, like the EPA was saying, we started some pilots. There are new chemicals that have come that allows you to treat water and take out the toxins and the heavy metals. There are new chemicals that have come. One of them is called dioxin. The people came and we sent them there. They took samples, they tested. We're waiting for them to bring the results back. But there are other ways of dealing with gold, that is processing gold, without using mercury and cyanide. There are different for instance, you have what they call vortex concentrators. You put the gravel in there, and it's a vortex, it's like a centrifuge, and all the heavy things sink to the bottom. And you're able to take out the water, and you see the gold lying at the bottom, and you don't need to use mercury and all that. There's carbon filter. There you can use carbon filters to filter the water in order to be able to take out any toxins that are in there. They call it activated carbon filtration. You have reverse osmosis that is capable of taking out heavy metals and others, from the water. So while we are fighting the menace, I'm also saying that we should uptake technology in order to protect our environment. So yes, let's fight the illegal mining, but at the same time, let's bring in the new technologies that allow us to be able to protect our environment. Now, with the elephant in the room, state of emergency. Yes, I have the power to do it, but the president acts on the authority, not only on the authority, on the advice of the National Security Council. And as at now, this moment, the National Security Council believes that we can win the fight against Galamsey without a state of emergency. I want to assure you that the day they advise me otherwise, that, boss, now we need a state of emergency, I will not hesitate in declaring a state of emergency. But we do still think that we have the powers to be able to win this fight. And as we deploy more troops and we apply more resources to the fight, I'm sure that gradually we'll begin to see that we're winning the fight. So like I said, this is not going to be a one-stop dialogue. We're going to continue to update you. We need your support. We need your criticism. We need your advocacy. We need your pressure. Continue to put our feet to the fire, because that will encourage us to also continue to work harder. And so I want to personally assure you that as president, I will also continue to put pressure on my lands ministry and all the ministries that are involved in this to make sure that we're able to hand over to our children and our grandchildren an environment that our great-grandfathers handed over to us. They gave us a beautiful country with a lot of forests and trees and beautiful rivers. We should not hand over poisoned rivers and desecrated forests to our children and our grandchildren. And so we will continue to fight. I believe that we'll win the fight against Galamsey. And I want to thank you for the advocacy that you continue to do. We'll hold the next dialogue. NIMOS will go to work and continue. And once we chalk more successes, we'll be able to come and update you that this is what we're doing. We want to do it transparently. We have nothing to hide. I don't gain anything from Galamsey. I am not personally involved in Galamsey, and I have no interest in it continuing. And so you can be sure that we are all on the same side, and we'll continue to do this work. I thank you very much.